light. And there was light.
I do like.
Good light.
This one is for me. Last week, if anybody saw it, I was in silhouette behind a background that was less than ideal. But we will do what we did until that itself worked out. And we will continue in this series on the book of Isaiah. This is part 11. And we started with this dual prophecy part of it last week, and it continues today with a dual prophecy, starting in Isaiah, the 33rd chapter, the first verse. And before I get started, clocks, well, nothing goes back. That's the manipulations of man. We don't have any more time or less time, but man has been, it's all through the Bible that man is going to manipulate time. That will get worse as we go on. But this weekend and probably tonight, it goes up an hour. And it comes back sometime in the fall. Nothing gets lost. They just have to manipulate something as long as they can. But one of the things that we're going to go through is today is that time when they won't go through that anymore. Isaiah, the 33rd chapter, the first verse. And he does what he always does. He gets straight to business. Woe to the destroyer, and you who have not been destroyed, and betrayer, and they have not betrayed you. When you stop destroying, you shall be destroyed. When you stop betraying, they shall betray you. O Yahweh, be gracious to us. We have waited for you to be their arm in the mornings, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of yourself, the nations were scattered. And your spoil shall be gathered as the stripping locust gathers, as the running to and fro of locusts. He shall run on them. Yahweh is exalted, for he dwells on high. He has filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. That's a change right there, if you know it or not. Verse 6, and he will be the security of your times, and strength of salvation, wisdom and knowledge. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. Behold, their mighty ones shall cry outside. The messengers of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways will lie waste. The traveler ceases. He has broken the covenant. He has despised the cities. He cared for no man. The earth mourns and droops. Lebanon is ashamed. Sharon withers like a wilderness. Bashan and Carmel are shaken out. Now I will rise, says Yahweh. Now I will be exalted. Now I will lift up myself. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring out stubble. Your breath, like fire, shall devour you. Verse 12. And the people shall be like the burning of lime, like thorns cut up. They shall be burned in the fire. You who are far off, hear what I have done. And you near ones, know my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Terror has surprised profane ones. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? He who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he who despises the gain of oppressions, who shakes his hands free from holding bribes, who stops his ear from hearing of blood, and shuts his eyes from seeing evil, he shall dwell on high. His refuge shall be the strongholds of rocks. Bread shall be given to him. His waters shall be sure. Your eyes shall see the King in his beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Your heart shall dwell on terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the one weighing? Where is the one counting the towers? You shall not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than you can understand, of a foreign tongue that no one understands. Look on Zion, the city of our holy meetings. Your eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet home. Don't see that nowadays, do you? You will, though. A tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of its stakes shall ever be removed, nor shall any of its cords be broken. But there, the glorious Yahweh will be to us a place of broad rivers and streams, in which no galley with oars shall go, nor shall mighty ships pass by it. For Yahweh is our judge. Yahweh is our lawgiver. Yahweh is our king. He will save us. This is a dual prophecy of Assyria, but this is an end time prophecy also, as you'll see, as you be more developed in this as you go along. Verse 23, your ropes are loosened. They do not hold the base of the mast. They could not spread the sail. Then the Then they pray of a great spoil shall be divided. The lame take the prey, and the inhabitant, the people who live in it, shall not say, I am sick. Iniquity is taken away. Woe to you who plunder, though you have not been plundered, and you who deal treacherously, though they have not dealt treacherously with you. When you cease plundering, you will be plundered. When you make an end of dealing treacherously, they will deal treacherously with you. You'll get it back in the end, what he's saying here. Woe to you who plunder. This prophecy spoken before the Assyrian invasion shows that this people, seemingly an unstoppable army, will be in fact stopped. Those who did the plundering will be plundered and will be dealt with treacherously by others. Yeshua Messiah spoke of this principle in Matthew, the 7th chapter, the 1st verse. Judge not that you be not judged. For what judgment you mete out, you will be judged. And with the same measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Yahweh Elohim, or King Yeshua, has every right to deal with us as we have dealt with others. The prayer of Elohim's people. O Yahweh, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people shall flee. When you lift yourself up, the nations shall be scattered, and your plunder shall be gathered, like the gathering of the caterpillar, as the running to and fro of locusts. He shall run upon them. O Yahweh, be gracious to us. In light of the Assyrian threat and the longed for deliverance of a righteous king, Elohim's people no longer look to the Egyptians. They no longer look to themselves. Now they look to Yahweh Elohim and cry out, O Yahweh, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be their arm every morning. Elohim's people aren't trusting in themselves anymore. That's a shock. That's a big shock when it comes. Hasn't come yet. And looking to his arm every morning. When you lift yourself up, the nations shall be scattered. Elohim's people have a confident expectation in Yahweh Elohim. Their prayer is filled with wonderful expectancy. Like the gathering of the caterpillar. Verse 4 may already have had an initial fulfillment after the death of the Assyrian soldiers. For undoubtedly, the inhabitants of Jerusalem congregated like caterpillars around the corpses and the implements of war. Yahweh Elohim announces his fire of judgment Now I will rise, says Yeshua Messiah. Who? It changed, didn't it? Now I will rise, says Yeshua Messiah. Now I will be exalted. Now I will lift myself up. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire shall devour you. And the people shall be like the burning of lime, like thorns cut up. They shall be burned in the fire. Hear you who are far off what I have done, and you who are near acknowledge my might. Now I will rise, as the whole earth is brought low by the judgment of Yeshua Messiah. At the same time, Yahweh lifts him up, and the people shall be like the burnings of lime again, like thorns cut up. They shall be burned in the fire. Yahweh's judgment will come like fire, and the wicked and worthless works of man will be like chaff and stubble that is quickly and ferociously burned in the fire. That was the commentary of what was read before. Continuing in Isaiah, the 33rd chapter, the 14th verse. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Terror has surprised the profane ones. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? He who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he who despises the gain of oppression, who shakes his hands free from holding bribes, who stops his ear from hearing of blood, and shuts his eyes from seeing evil. He shall dwell on high. His refuge shall be the strongholds of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. Verse 17. Your eyes shall see the King in his beauty. Strange word there. It says so many times in the book itself, he has no beauty of himself. That was man's word there. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Your heart shall dwell on terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the one weighing? Where is the one counting the towers? You shall not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than you can understand, of a foreign tongue that no one understands. Look on Zion, the city of our meetings, holy meetings. Your eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet home. What? A tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of its stakes shall ever be removed, nor shall any of its cords be broken. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Of course they are. The judgment of Yeshua Messiah is coming. Those who were not afraid to practice their sin are now afraid. when righteous judgment comes upon their sin. He who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he will dwell on high. Though the sinners and hypocrites are terrified at the coming judgment of Yeshua Messiah, the Master's righteous ones are comforted that Elohim is coming to set things right. Your eyes will see the King in his beauty. The Master will bless his righteous ones. They will have a place of defense, a fortress, and bread and water will not fail them. But far above these material blessings, they will see the King in his not beauty, but reality. And not in earthly beauty, but the reality of what we have waited for all these years. In the most immediate sense, this referred to Hezekiah. That was the previous prophecy. But in the ultimate sense, to our sovereign Savior, Yeshua Messiah. Beyond all the material glory, splendor, and comfort of heaven, this is the greatest glory of heaven, not to be personally glorified, as some think, but to see the King in his reality. It isn't only seeing the King, it is seeing him in his reality to you. It can be said that we occasionally catch a glimpse of our King, Yeshua, and even sometimes have a glance at his reality. But the highest experience we could have now is like nothing compared to what we will experience when we see the King in his reality. Paul said of our present walk, you will find this in 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, the 12th verse. You will remember at this, you've heard this before. 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, and the 12th verse. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I am also known. Today, when we look in a mirror, the image is clear. But in the ancient world, mirrors were made out of polished metal. And the image was always unclear and somewhat distorted. You imagine those ones that they used to have at the amusement parks. You get into it and one day we were fat and the other day we were skinny and had large head, and that's what can happen with polished metal. Today, a mirror is pretty much clear. We see Yeshua today as only in a dim, unclear way. But one day, we will see him with perfect clarity. I wait for that day. I wait for that day. The long-awaited kingdom of Yahweh Elohim is precious to us for many reasons. Some selfish, others not so selfish. But the thing is, there is a point in all our walk that the goal is more than just us getting into the kingdom of God. It's other people getting there with us. And the things that will come as a result of that kingdom coming in its fullness. We long to be with our loved ones who have passed before us and whom we miss so dearly. I've got a line up behind me, but that's only part of it. We long to be with the great men and women of Elohim who have passed before us in centuries past. We want to walk the streets of gold, see the pearly gates, see the angels around the throne of Yahweh Elohim, worshiping him day and night. However, none of those things, precious as they might be, are the only reason to wish for the kingdom of heaven. In reality, the heavenlies, as they are called, what makes this kingdom real to us is the unhindered, unrestricted presence of our Messiah. And to see the King in his reality, this will be the greatest experience of our eternal existence. Don't forget about that. Once we get into this kingdom, no more death. No more death. Some of us are scared of that. That is unreal to us, is living forever. This is real. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. There's a lot more fun to be had out there, but that's what's temporary. That's what's temporary. After Yeshua Messiah rose from the dead in his glorified body, his body uniquely retained something from this to remind him of all times what he went through for us. His body uniquely retained the nail prints in his hands and the scar on his side. Turn with me to John, the 20th chapter, the 24th verse. John, the 20th chapter, starting at the 24th verse. But Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Yeshua came. The other disciples therefore said to him, "We have seen the Master." But he said to them, "Unless I shall see the print of the nails in his hands, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe." And after 8 days, the disciples were inside again, and Thomas was with them. Yeshua came, the door being shut, and stood in the midst and said, "Peace to you all." Then he said to Thomas, Reach your hand, your finger here, and behold my hands. And reach your hand there and thrust it into my side. And do not be unbelieving, but believing. And Thomas answered him and said, my master and my Elohim. Turn to Zechariah, the 12th chapter, the 10th verse. And I will pour on the house of David and on the people of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of prayers. And they shall look on me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and shall be bitter over him as the bitterness over the firstborn. Continuing on Zechariah, the 13th chapter, the 7th verse. Awake, O sword, upon the bishop and upon the man that is my fellow, said Yahweh of the hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And I will turn my hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, said Yahweh Elohim, 2 parts therein shall be cut off in her, and shall be lost. But the third shall be left therein. And I will put the third part in the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. He shall call on my name, and I will hear him. I will say, my people, and he shall say, Yahweh is my Elohim. Now let's go back to Isaiah, the 34th chapter, first verse. Come near, nations, to hear, and you people, listen. Let the earth hear, and its fullness, the world and its offspring. For the anger of Yahweh is on all nations, and his fury on all their armies. One man against all the world's armies. Sounds fair to me. More so than we will ever imagine until we see it with our own eyes. He has completely destroyed them. There it is. He has delivered them to the slaughter. Also their dead shall be thrown out, and their stink shall come up out of their dead bodies, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Verse 4. And all the host of the heavens shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled up like a scroll. Heard that before? That will place this time period. And all their host shall droop as a leaf falls from a vine, and as the falling from the fig tree, for my sword bathed in them as the heavens. Behold, it shall come down on Edom and on the people of my curse for judgment. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats. He said he didn't want them. He said he didn't want them. He said he wanted a heart of obedience. And they gave him goats, and what he did do to them, killed them all. With the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh has a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. And the wild oxen shall come down with them, and the bulls with the bulls, and with their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, the year to repay for the fighting against Zion. All those people that hate Jews, get them too. That's what they are saying here. He'll get them too. And his definition is a little different from the world's. His different definition of a Jew is a little different from the world's. We know what it is, but they don't yet. Verse 9. And its streams shall be turned into pitch, and its dust to brimstone, and its land shall become burning pitch. It shall not be put out night or day. Its smoke shall go up forever. Not forever, but until its contents are extinguished and burned to ashes. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None passes through it forever and ever. But the pelican and the bittern shall possess it. Any wildlife in the area can have their choice of land because there are no people there anymore. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out on the line of shame and the stones of emptiness. They shall call its nobles to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all their rulers shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and thistles in its fortresses. And it shall be a home of jackals and a court for ostriches. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the howling beasts, and the shaggy goat shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl shall rest there and find for himself a place of rest. There the snake shall nest and lay and hatch and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek out of the book of Yahweh and read, and none of these shall fail. None of these prophecies shall fail. None shall lack its mate. For my mouth has commanded, and his spirit has gathered them, and he has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it to them by line. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation. They shall dwell in it, these wild animals. Isaiah, the 35th chapter, first verse. The wilderness and the desert shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the crocus. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the honor of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of Yahweh and the majesty of our Yahweh Elohim. Verse 3. Make the weak hands strong, and make the feeble knees sure. Say to those of a hasty heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your Yahweh Elohim will come with vengeance, with the full dealing of Yahweh Elohim. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb shall sing. For in the wilderness waters shall break out in streams in the desert, and the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land shall become springs of water in the home of jackals in its lair, and a place for the reed and rush, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but he shall be with them. The wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err in it. No lion shall be there, nor any beast of prey shall go up on it. If they do, by that time in history, they'll no longer be eating meat. It's said in another place that the lion and the child will lead them, and not with the child in the lion's mouth. Verse 10, and the ransom of Yahweh will return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy on their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Any questions? Any comments? Any scriptures to share? Anything? Yes.
In verse 34, you made mention, you said that they had, and it reads here, it says, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. He didn't want their sacrifice, as you stated. He didn't want that sacrifice, and you said something so touching. You said, Yeshua wants your heart. Not the sacrifice of lambs and bulls and blood. The sacrifice he wants your heart, not of animals. He wants your heart. And
To this day, that's all they want to give them. And they're starting up now. They have a Sanhedrin already chosen and in Israel. And they're training a set of rabbis to officiate the going in of the temple, and resuming the sacrifices of goats and such on the holy days. And they're going back to this. And he said, even in the book, several times, I don't want that. I want your heart. And that's not for sale to him, again, apparently. Thurman.
Pastor, in chapter 34, when you get toward the end of it, Yahweh talks of making the place desolate and letting the animals inhabit it. Is that for Edom? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, Edom. Okay.
Yeah. One of the last things he does is all the people that he knew never would make peace with his people. Moab and Edom. Egypt, we know already. But two things that he will do in the end time is vanquish Edom and Moab. The reasons are all through the book.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Dwayne.
Online where I spend some time, there's a lot of discussion of the different types of people inhabiting Judah and calling themselves Jews, the Ashkenazi, and
Yep.
Does God recognize them as Judah or as interlopers that ought not be there? And will they be the rabbis of the future or deleted from that? And how many Jews are there really left over there and in the world scattered about?
A lot of the ones in the world are still scattered because they don't even know that they're Jews themselves.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people that are over there officially fulfilling the title to themselves are not. That line, I don't know where it is off the top of my head, but he says in Revelation somewhere that the Jews are there, but a lot of the people that call themselves Jews are not. But they are interlopers, as you said. And we won't know who they are until the end, because those are the people that are going to get burned in the fires.
I have worked with some of them and had some of them work with me. And they're strange people, and they like money, that's for sure. But I can't blame the mom and pop Jew at the corner delicatessen. They work so hard for what they get. And no, those people are innocent. I shouldn't condemn them for anything.
No, I don't. I don't know who they are. And a lot of people that say they do, don't either.
Yeah.
And I'm just real enough to tell you, I'm not clairvoyant like that.
Yeah. Some of the websites you come across, so you'll know as soon as you load them that you're into trouble, because they take so long to load, and you look down and scroll down, and there's about 8 different videos that are being loaded at the same time. So it's going to take you the next half hour, but to get them done, I see who's there sponsoring it. I just turn it off. No, I don't want to hear that stuff anymore. I've heard it. I recognize the problem. I can decipher who's who as much as I can. He thinks they're all like lump one sum, but no, they're not.
No. It was that easy, we wouldn't have all the problems we have every year with the holy days and everything else. Because everybody's saying something different.
Yeah.
Develop.
If you said it was a group of people that are trying to start the,
Yeah, in Jerusalem, right now.
but if he said to, don't do that,
Yeah, he's had a
Why-
lot of
why
other
do they-
stuff that they said too, when they do that too.
but they must not be reading.
Pastor, what Phyllis say?
Yes,
What did Develop say? I couldn't even hear her.
I said that if the pastor had said that they were starting it up about all sacrifices. And
Yeah.
if the Bible says don't do it, which it says don't do it, not only in Isaiah but other scriptures, why are they doing it? And I said they must not be reading what is in here.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Thank
just do it. Yeah.
yeah. They're following their own voices.
Voices, that's what they're doing.
And
That's
I
what
said
they always
must not
did.
be reading what I'm reading.
Pastor, I have a question.
Yes.
What the people truly think that there's going to be a time when there's going to be sacrifices again? If that was done away, why do they persist saying that there's going to be sacrifices?
The same reason that they don't recognize Yeshua as their Messiah. Same reason.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. Very good.
Until next time.
Okay, brethren, now we will ask